So, guys, so after downplaying insecurity in the country, the Tinubu's government is now bowing to pressure. Take a look at this headline. It says Tinubu orders 24 hours Air Force surveillance over forests in Kwara, Kebbi, Niger to counter escalating kidnapping and coordinate rescue operations. So, the Tinubu's government is asking for 24 hours air surveillance by Air Force. So, guys, a whole lot is happening in this country. Now, an APC chieftain has lambasted Tinubu, saying he doesn't know why the Tinubu's government has refused to designate these terrorists as terrorists. So, guys, this is a very big question. Take a look at this. It says federal government non-declaration of bandits as terrorists is a major challenge. APC chieftain is daring Tinubu to his face. You can imagine if all the menace happening in Nigeria now was to be happening in the southeast. I tell you, the military would have released their anger on even civilians. We all know what happened under Buhari's government. Many civilians, young Igbo boys, lost their lives because they were looking for ESN members. So, guys, a whole lot is happening in this country. Now, take a look at this headline here. Vigilantes and hunters repel a bandit attack on Kiri High School, Kogi State, preventing abduction, child abduction. 2 people were killed. So they went to a school to kidnap children. Local vigilantes stood up to them, but sadly, 2 people lost their lives. 2 of the local vigilantes lost their lives, but they prevented the terrorists from kidnapping school children. So, guys, that tells you the need of community policing. Now, as regards to the KB girls release, Nigerians have been questioning how much was paid, because these bandits have come out to say that the Tinubu's government paid ransom. Now, this is saying Kebbi school girl rescue, saving lives, not catching kidnappers, comes first. Not catching kidnappers, saving life is first. So the bandits are let to go. None of them is facing the wrath of the law. And you can see here that terrorists invade Sokoto community, abduct residents after sudden network shutdown. So, guys, sudden network shutdown. So even if you are crying, you cannot even cry out to people online to know what is happening. There was shutdown of the internet, and then these people invaded this community. Now there are some reactions. Kenneth Okonkwo is saying Tinubu's government has surrendered Nigeria to terrorists, failed to protect citizens, and lost every right to remain in power. Kenneth Okonkwo, meaning Tinubu should resign because he doesn't know what he's doing. Atiku Abubakar has equally slammed Tinubu, saying, why didn't you neutralize or arrest terrorists who abducted Kebbi school girls instead of negotiating? Because these terrorists have come out to say that actually they reached a deal with the Tinubu's government. That was after the government denied paying any ransom. But guess what? The bandits came out to confirm that something happened. A deal was reached, and we all know that a Yoruba man came out recently saying that Tinubu signed a deal before he became president. So, guys, the North is equally a problem. I mean, the Northern leaders, about all these things that we are seeing happening in this country. Anyway, guys, I'm going to allow you to take a look at the moment this APC chieftain lambasted the Tinubu's government for not designating these people as terrorists. Because if they had designated them as terrorists, they will be treating them as such. Take your time, watch this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Now, take a look.
I mentioned the other time that the bandits are, jihadists. I gave them that classification because, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not aware of any law enacted by the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria declaring these people as terrorists. And that is a very great lacuna that has been hindering the federal government to give them the terrorist treatment, the type of which President Donald Trump is expecting from the government of Nigeria. That is why those people have yet to be declared by the federal government as terrorists.
So, guys, see how Nigerians are reacting after these terrorists attacked a community in Sokoto State, shutting down internet. I mean, the internet was shut down. This person said it means terrorists are everywhere, from the presidency to the security agencies, and now they are even among the network providers. Nigeria is doomed. So, guys, you can imagine if these people have an insider in the network companies. Why was the internet shut down in those communities that were attacked? And this person said they are shutting down networks in this time around to massacre Christians in Nigeria. And this other person here says Sheikh Gumi, the most valuable federal government ransom negotiator, has a lot on his plate this season. He has a lot of work to do this time around to negotiate. And this person says Southern network shut down. Imagine this as the new normal going forward. So much is just not adding up. Imagine this, that each time these people come to attack, there won't be any network for somebody to even raise alarm. And this person, government go use public phone pay ransom tire. So, guys, a whole lot of reactions. I'm just going to allow you to take a look at these videos I've got for you. But before then, see what Tinubu once said. Why should any part of the country be under occupation? In any civilized country, Jonathan should resign. We don't know why Tinubu has not resigned. Kenneth Okonkwo is asking him to do that. Now, Wole Soyinka during Jonathan said, Wole Soyinka to federal government, seek foreign help if you can't stop herdsmen killing. Now, Wole Soyinka under Tinubu says, Soyinka, foreign intervention may worsen Nigeria's insecurity. So he needed foreign help during Jonathan, but he rejected it during the time of Tinubu, and Nigerians are wondering what kind of hypocrisy can he be displaying. Now, I'm going to allow you to take a look at these videos. Let me just allow you listen for yourself how this APC chieftain is knocking Tinubu down, saying, how dare the Tinubu's government refuse to designate these terrorists as terrorists, and that is why they are not being treated as such. Take your time, watch these videos to the end, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Now take a look.
President Bola Tinubu has ordered a full security cordon around forest areas in Kwara State following a series of recent kidnappings and terrorist activities. According to a statement posted on X by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Public Communications, Sunday Dari, the President has directed the Nigerian Air Force to expand aerial surveillance over the deepest parts of the forest where the suspects are believed to be hiding. He adds that air assets are to maintain round-the-clock surveillance and coordinate closely with security units already in place.
There was a mention about non-kinetic approach. Can you tell us what that means? Does it mean that either the state government or the federal government or the families or any of the state security agencies, the mention was Department of State Security, was ransom paid? Do you have any information on that regard? And do you have information in terms of the mood of the girls themselves and their families? The girls may be in an undisclosed location, but what is the general mood in terms of how their families and others feel?
Okay, I'll start with the last question, Doctor. The mood of the girls from the video we saw online on social media has been, kind of cheerful. These are kids in the age of 10 to about 15 years or so. Of course, they're still children. They are still in the naive stage of life, and they won't be too hard done by following the events of the past 8 days. But of course, they are still very innocent, still very naive. Of course, we wouldn't expect them to be too depressed following that incident. Of course, no one can practically tell what the conditions that they were kept in was. We can only guess or fathom what it was. But as for the kinetic or non-kinetic approach taken by the security operatives, I can just tell you that this was a joint operation involving the local vigilantes and other security operatives, the DSS, the military, I want to believe the police and the likes. Non-kinetic, putting that side by side with the information by the governor that no ransom was paid. I want to believe it wasn't just negotiation. Okay, I want the girls, and then you take the girls. I'm pretty sure there was a bit of combat. But non-kinetic in this context is something that those who were at the forefront of the negotiation or the engagement to secure the girls' release will give clarity on. But from my standpoint, I will only tell you that I'm pretty sure there wasn't any form of, should I call it plea bargain, as it were, in this context. Because if the governor said there was no ransom paid, we only guess that some form of combat was involved in the joint operation that led to the rescue of the girls.
All right, Jeffrey, I'm always interested in the situation on the ground and how the community feels. Given that, as you've sort of explained these non-kinetic measures, we know that no arrests have been made yet. How does the community feel knowing that the perpetrators of this crime are still roaming free?
Yes, the fears, the concerns about insecurity is real, it's genuine. This permeates beyond Kebbi State. It's now a nationwide thing. If we're sincere with ourselves, we know the perpetrators of the crime are right next to us. A next door neighbor could be one criminal, or so on and so forth. You can't really tell who is, into what at any point in time. Non-kinetic approach to resolving this means that those people have not been arrested, they are still roaming the street. That should be a cause of concern. So basically, that's where the issue of accountability comes in. Those involved in securing the country, the issue of non-disclosure. Of course, it is good for in the interest of national security, but at some point there will be need for some form of clarity, putting things in context. Like in the case of this non-kinetic, which of course has been thrown up over and over and over. At some point, we want to believe that there should be some closure, there should be some clarity on what non-kinetic in this context actually means. Because if you say you approach the measures to secure the girls' freedom was not by kinetic means, then it means the people who were involved are still not, and they are still not arrested yet. So it means they are still free to roam around the street. So that leaves a lot of questions, and which of course those on the higher echelons of Nigeria's security architecture to provide more clearer answers to.
If you can hear me, whatever it is, it looks good. President Tinubu can continue with the chest beating that he has been able to rescue the
24
No, the 38.
Okay, 38 and 24.
From Eruku in Kwara State, and now 24 from Kebbi State. Unfortunately, the vice principal that was killed, his family will still deal with this. However, what should we expect later today? The rescued 24 abducted girls, they're probably appearing in Ashwebi and going to government house, and Kebbi State governor receiving them, and statements will be made. What should we expect as Arise News continues to cover the situation?
Yeah, you got that spot on, Doctor. Of course, the Ashwebi should be ready right about now. Ashwebi is one of those things, of course, in such events, you have them come on an Ashwebi zone perfectly. So we're going to have that. The governor will receive them. The parents will also, speak, and, one or two of the parents will speak. The one or two of the girls, if they're in the right mood, will also speak of their experience. So far, there's no agenda what the event will look like, but then we can always fathom a guess, because we've seen these incidents, we've seen events like these play out over time, so we can very well predict or guess what it will look like. So, of course, there's going to be Ashwebi for sure. That's definitely going to be for sure. An Ashwebi, and then the accompanying razzmatazz that we follow, basically. But again, it's going to be an emotional moment, because after 8 days of being away from their children, the parents will be overjoyed to finally get to have their kids in their warm embrace. Doctor.
Very quickly, before we let you go, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, who was stationed in Kebbi State following this abduction, said that the girls were secured in Niger State. We also know that there was also an abduction in Niger State. Is Niger State now a theater of mass abductions? What's the update on that?
Well, it's, these bandits, as they are known, are nomads. They have this nomadic way of doing things. They can move from one spot to another. Because if you want to trace those people who are kidnapped, if you want to trace their hideout, you wouldn't want to stay at a spot within the locality. You have to move far away. So it's very likely. Of course, Kebbi shares a common border with Niger State and Zamfara, as well as Sokoto. And then internationally, Kebbi also shares the same border with Niger and Benin Republic. That's in the southern part. Southern part is Niger, and then in the western part with Benin Republic. So you just expect some form of cross-border activity, including criminal activities at some point. So if these girls were moved from Kebbi to a neighboring state, that isn't much of, is this a no-brainer? Because these are criminals who are used to moving in the forest, and that shouldn't be much of an issue to want to bother ourselves about. But then, of course, we know this, to evade arrest, to evade knowing their location, basically. So they must move in that format. So moving to Niger State, and then basically that's just a point that we, of course, already know.
On the one hand, we really want to celebrate, but certainly this new news of 11 people being kidnapped, after we also heard that 4 people were killed now on the farm when they were trying to harvest their crops, and then 38 people returned after they were taken from a church in Eruku in Kwara State, is giving us mixed feelings as to what exactly is happening. What is this new siege that seems to have befallen Kwara State? Can you give us your own insights into what you're hearing on the ground? Let me start with you, Comrade Abdulrauf Bello.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians. The crisis on hand, that is the insecurity in Kwara State, is not new. It's not new. It is rooted in the lopsidedness of the 1914 amalgamation. The amalgamation of 1914 was condemned by our political leaders, notably Chief Obafemi Awolowo. He described the amalgamation as Nigeria, amalgamated Nigeria was a mere geographical expression. Sir Ahmadu Bello described it as a mistake. Looking at the underpinnings of these two definitions, we discover that Kwara, especially the Yoruba part of Kwara State, was by accident carved from their kith and kin to be part of, the North. So the current crisis is generated, it has its base in the North, but now spreading into the other parts of the country. So the kidnapping, ransom taking, herdsmen, farmers, they are designed by a mafia, a northern mafia, to continue to dominate the political space. As a matter of fact, this current crisis started as herders, farmers, clash, which was a design for expansionist agenda of the northern mafia. So we thank God all the crises, in Kwara South, especially in Ekiti and Ibomina areas of Kwara South, are being handled dispassionately by the government. And we are happy that those who are kidnapped in Eruku have all been released. They came back home, peacefully. Those who were kidnapped in Isapa recently, some of them have also been released. Unfortunately, we lost some life there. Now, if you look at the pattern of the attack, it follows the same trajectory of the jihadists the jihadists. So the crisis is not about religion. It is not. They have to go to the CAC church in order to give it religious coloration to, bring a wedge between the Muslim and Christians in Kwara South. There has never been a religious crisis in Kwara South between the Muslims and Christians. But the bandits they continue to attack churches in order to give it that coloration. And they will never succeed. They will never. I mentioned the other time that the bandits are, jihadists. I gave them that classification because, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not aware of any law enacted by the National Assembly of the Federal Republic of Nigeria declaring these people as terrorists. And that is a very great lacuna that has been hindering the federal government to give them the terrorist treatment, the type of which President Donald Trump is expecting from the government of Nigeria. That is why those people have yet to be declared by the federal government as terrorists. So put that one aside. The local government system and the recruitment into the police, etc., are not going to be the solution. They are part of it, but they are not. The solution to the insecurity in this country is to go back to the factory setting of this country, the regionalism. Regionalism where each region or each state or zone, whatever name you call them, will have their own police, their own civil service, their own education system. All these will bring the criminal to book. Before 1966, we had native authority police in Ilorin province, Ilorin Kaba province. They were up to the task. They faced all the security. They understand the terrain. They are familiar with the terrain. But now you bring indigenous of Anambra, Kanu, Kaduna to come and police in Kwara State. How can that be effective? It cannot. But I agree with you that the local government system should be autonomous. Yes, and this is what Mr. President has been clamoring for as soon as he assumed office. But the governors are the greatest impediments, the stopping block on this line of thought of Mr. President. So we have to appeal to the governors, all of the 36 governors, to please act quickly. We thank God the Southwest governors met, maybe on Monday, and they have resolved that they are going to establish their own police in their state. Yes, I expect Kwara also to join them in this, project. The Kwara should join them. Now, the traditional rulers in Kwara State, I think we have to commend them because I understand that each of the traditional rulers contribute. They have established security fund among themselves. One of them is even the Olupaku of Share from my own local government. Is the chairman of that security committee. They levy themselves. The first class, they pay 200,000 monthly. The second class 100, the third class 50, and the fourth class 25,000. So if they can do this much, the government of the state should also remunerate them by improving their welfare so that they can discharge. All crimes are local. There's no way you can police Isapa, Babanla, Okeode, Sahara from Ilorin. It is not going to be possible. It is not going to be easy.
All right.
We have to decentralize all this so that life and property could be secured and safe.
I'm wondering how you are receiving this news. In Kebbi State, sharing news of the release or escape or recovery or of the 25 girls. But where you are in Ilori and Kwara State precisely, there was another kidnap. There we understand nursing mothers, a pregnant woman was also kidnapped yesterday. How does this news come to you, and what's the mood like in Ilori where you are this morning?
Thank you so much. Actually, any such news comes with a very bad and awful feelings. Whether you are directly involved or not, we are talking about human beings, we are talking about children and mothers of people that were kidnapped by these bandits, as they are called. It is a very, very bad news, and it's something that is not normal in Kwara State. I've been in Kwara State for some time, and throughout my time in Kwara State, we have not had it this bad. But the government are trying their best, the security forces are trying their best, but it is not a news to be, to share about. It's a very wrong news to hear and to wake up to know that about, in the space of a week, 5, 6, 7 days, 2 type of kidnapping situation was reported. I think it is not a good news at all.
Ms. Adekoya, in South Africa as well, what's your initial assessment of this situation? I mean, Mr. Ajayi says the government is doing their best. Do you think that's the situation here? That's the case here? Do you think the government of the day is doing their best as well? Yekachi, please.
Yeah, I don't think that the government is doing the best that can be done. But the government is making efforts, and the rescue release, as whatever connotation we want to give to it, it's a welcome development. Whether government paid ransom, I'm indifferent to it really, as long as the people are released. Now, you must understand that within the domain of statecraft, the government has to deploy all the tools within its means to achieve a stated objective. And this stopped that government doesn't negotiate with terrorists, because the Americans say they don't negotiate with terrorists. Again, we must set everything in situational context. Just recently, we saw the head of HTS, the terrorist group, Al-Qaeda variant, in the White House, shaking hands with Donald Trump. And the White House press statement was that the president of Syria visited the White House. Nobody elected the man president of Syria. He's a known terrorist that had a $5 million bounty on his head. We've seen where then American government flew, according to reports by current president, over $500 billion in cash to Iran. So again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that let's be happy for the families. Let's be happy for fellow Nigerians who have been rescued, released, escaped. Let's deal from there going forward. Is the government doing enough? No. So what's the next step? What are we going to do about these people? How are we going to create conditions that do not allow these actions to fester and continue? What is the system we're going to put in place? From a systemic perspective, you can't seem to see the logic in how we are approaching a highly mobile, highly dispersed, highly motivated, highly capable force that is operating across the country simultaneously. So statements are not enough. We need to see a system that is as agile, that is as nimble, that is as capable, that is as resource, taking the initiative. So is the government doing enough? Sadly, no.
Mr. Onyekachi, in less than, I think if my data is right, in about 10 days or less than 2 weeks, to be fair, we've had 25 or 24, we've had 38, I'm talking about abductions. We have over 300, then we've had 11, and then we had releases in batches of 50, another 24, and all of that. the way it is looking like, I want you to help us, calm things down and help us understand what exactly is happening here. I gave those sequence for a reason. Is this a false flag to wade off American boats on our soil, more like a coordinated chaos to say we can handle this, or we're really in a crisis?
Godfrey, I like the fact that you are reeling data out, but if you do recall, we were on set sometime early this year, and I invited you, the both of you on set, to begin to notice Q4 of 2025 into Q1 of 2026, that you will begin to see kidnap of school children, you will begin to see an upsurge in kidnappings, in insecurity activity. I did also project us at that time that the cost of insecurity will take a toll on the president's, this current administration's presidency. And data is predictive. You're referencing data. This happens on the eve of every major election cycle. But when opposition moved early in 2025 to begin the move towards 2027, I said, hey guys, look at it, the polity is being heated up. And what will typically happen is that you see an uptick in crime. Number two, on the case of the Americans, I just like to look at data. Sometime last year, if you look at the posts from the US Embassy, there's been a sustained campaign against the Nigerian states, against the reforms. Just sequence it. We issued tariff, visa restriction, 2-3 months, coming like that in sequence, comments about the reforms, the reforms are failing. It then crescendoed into the allegations of genocide. And then, so there's a campaign somewhere, just go to the US Embassy Twitter handle or X handle and sequence the activities going on there. That's on a parallel. The question as to whether this is a false flag operation, this is a very tired, lazy analysis of the situation. I always say that Nigeria is faced with a hydra-headed, wicked problem. It's a complex problem. Should we be concerned? Yes, we should be concerned. If you look at our near neighbor Niger Republic, Niamey is almost put into a fire pocket.
So guys, I want to quickly take you through some of the reactions on the social media. There is this video by Arise TV talking about a woman who has come out to blast nnamdi Kanu over disarray. Let me read it the way Arise TV wrote it on its Twitter handle. It says, woman blames nnamdi Kanu for disarray. A video of a young Nigerian calling out nnamdi Kanu has gone viral, in which she states that Biafra movement is not something that all Igbos support. She then condemned Kanu directly, saying that he single-handedly puts out his state in disarray. Watch this. So the video was attached here, but I'm just going to take you through some of the reactions from Nigerians. This person says, IPOB is registered in several states in the United States. Do you think the US government doesn't have intelligence on the real situation on ground in Nigeria? Do you think the US government can be deceived by your lies? Anyway, it's imperative people like you undergo DNA tests very quickly. So guys, this person don't finish. This, I think there's even a white person, Lena Williams. Now the Western world is interested in Nigerian news. Then let the United Nations Nigeria conduct a referendum in Biafra land. Let us decide if we support his Biafra agenda or we don't support it. Only referendum solves all this problem. We don't have time for gallivanting online. So actually this one nnamdi Kanu has been asking for referendum. Let's know if Nigerians, if Igbo wants to be on their own or not. I think that would have just been the easiest thing to do. Let there be a referendum. Let the Southeasterners decide if they want to leave or not. Now, this person say, Abati, is that all your opinion? Is all that your opinion? Your character towards Southeast is not a good one. The young lady in question is working for the Federal Deputy Speaker, NAS. You see, anyone benefiting from the corrupted government of Nigeria will never want anything to stop the benefit. We never want anything to stop the benefits. And this other person here says she should use that energy and demand for a referendum. Let's prove Nnamdi Kanu wrong. The truth of the matter is that many Igbos don't believe in Biafra, but only in a referendum will prove that to the world. So let there be referendum. I think that's if the federal government can really listen. This person saying he saw the future, raised an alarm. They tried to silence his voice. He will go down as a good. He will go down as the good. So this other person here said the young lady is innocently arrogant and overly fed with mis and disinformation propaganda as desired by Zeus psychological attack and war on Nnamdi Kanu. However, Arise TV, where is the statistical evidence? Amnesty Nigeria, at least you are the only organization with statistical help to help them low. So a whole lot is happening. I don't know how it is Nnamdi Kanu that destroyed the Southeast, you know. People were protesting. They arrested him. They came to his house to kidnap him. He ran away. I don't know how he was one that destabilized the Southeast. And this other person here said, no one is forcing her to be part of Biafra. Let Nigerian government conduct a referendum. Then she can be part of Nigeria if she wants. Blaming Nnamdi Kanu for killings in Southeast, which we see Nigeria security agencies doing, is unacceptable, honestly. Unacceptable. Oh my God. Yes, it is not every Biafran that supports our freedom. 80% Biafran want to be in Nigeria. That's why we want referendum, to know if this rubbish will die once and for all. As for that woman, look at her everywhere. She was paid to do what she is doing, but she came late. The woman in the viral Arise TV video isn't publicly identified, so detail on her specific action during Fulani herdsmen attack in Ebonyi State and Enugu are unavailable. ESN, established by IPOB in 2020, has engaged in clashes with herdsmen in Enugu 2021 and done an incident to protect farmland per Amnesty International and ICIR report. Though such actions have led to casualties on both sides. Clarity that the young lady is a product of your constant reports of unverified and unprofessional journalism from afar. Reporting as direct by the Nigerian police. She is clueless as to what sort of crime is happening in the Southeast. All she knows is what you and the police tell you. This person said, if Rufai is on the seat, I don't think this will be a headline news, because he will educate this useless woman on the television on how this kind of propaganda video shouldn't make headline. Other women who have been agitating for Biafra, why are Rice not showing them? Oh, I think this is true, honestly. She is perfectly right, but on the other hand, the federal government has no moral grounds to prosecute Nnamdi Kanu if they negotiate with war criminals and terrorists murdering Nigerians every day. That is the real issue. And this man, well, she made some point when she said that not all Igbos are in support of Biafra, but saying that Nnamdi Kanu is responsible for all the crimes in the Southeast, not including the sit at home, is rather coming from a place of ignorance. Arise have now turned to propaganda channel because Rufai isn't around. I pity for those ones she doesn't know herself. She is pure ignoramus. Every single thing she say here is a built fallacy. She has bought the Yaribas. She has bought the Yaribas and Fulani terrorist propaganda. Check how well she is, even as in if she's even Igbo, very, very gullible, born through away. Anyway, people are expressing their concern, you know, over this statement. A woman coming out to say Nnamdi Kanu is a cause for the insecurity in Nigeria. And these are some of the reactions. Nigerians are saying, okay, if it's Nnamdi Kanu, just do a referendum, let people decide whether they want to be in Biafra or be in Nigeria. That referendum is the solution. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.